let us all do we can to build a better future.
Labor MP wins almost 40% of the vote in contest, best by controversy, and dominated by the Israel-Gaza war. This is a huge historic event, and George Galloway made a recent victory speech in regards to what is happening in Gaza, the overall crisis there, and I think it's only fair that we hear out his speech and what exactly is going on. So let's go ahead and play this video for all of you beautiful people.
Keir Starmer, this is for Gaza. You have paid and you will pay a high price for the role that you have played in enabling, encouraging, and covering for the catastrophe presently going on in occupied Palestine in the Gaza Strip. I thank the people of Rochdale who voted for me in such numbers, but promised to work faithfully for all Rochdalians and to work for the day where you can again be born in Rochdale. Again, be born in Rochdale. I want to tell Mr. Starmer above all that the plates have shifted tonight. This is going to spark a movement, a landslide, a shifting of the tectonic plates in scores of parliamentary constituencies, beginning here in the Northwest, in the West Midlands, in London, from Ilford to Bethnal Green and Bow. Labour is on notice that they have lost the confidence of millions of their voters who loyally and traditionally voted for them generation after generation.
And how I wish we would have a movement like that here in the United States. Now, what's causing this? What exactly is going on? Because apparently, even in Great Britain, saying the word genocide, at least according to corporate media there, it's very difficult and controversial to talk about. So real quick, I want to play this video, and I got another video of George Galloway weighing in. This is a huge win because the Labour Party, dare I say it, abused its supporters and voters, just like how the Democratic Party has abused its voters and supporters. It's a story that I am all too familiar with, as are all of you. And to our United Kingdom audience, much love to all of you. This was clearly a earth-shattering event that, dare I say it, could be the opening to perhaps a real political movement that the whole world desperately needs. So let's go ahead and play this video here.
The fact is that the Labour Party is facilitating a genocide that's taken place before our very eyes. It's absolutely outrageous that the Labour Party, of all political parties, which has always had a strong peace contingent within it, is now actually supporting genocide.
Okay, maybe just avoid that language if that's okay.
Avoid that language. The BBC. What language do we need to avoid again? Hold on. So in other words, this gentleman here is calling out the hypocrisy of the Labour Party, commenting on George Galloway's victory. And what did George Galloway say in his speech? Well, he said, like, hey, this is the consequence of supporting a genocide in Gaza. And we're going to be talking about that later on. There's going to be imagery and stuff that I cannot share on YouTube because of the words and comments that'll be very controversial. But there is a genocide happening there. People are starving now. People are dying of disease. It's not only do they have to worry about sniper shots or artillery shells or tank shells or drone strikes or helicopter strikes. Now the elements and the lack of food and water are playing in. So let's play this again one more time.
For now, because that is something
the Labour Party, of all political parties, which has always had a strong peace contingent within it, is now actually supporting genocide.
Okay, maybe just avoid that language if that's okay for now, because that is something that may offend.
Well, I know, but it may offend, but even the International Court of Justice have acknowledged that there is a plausible genocide going on. When you see the Israelis massacring people who are starving, queuing up for food, and the Labour Party is not actually standing out against that, it's absolutely outrageous. The fact is that
Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a light trouble, but there you go. So, in other words, the BBC is telling him, hey, be careful with your words there. I want to play another video here of George Galloway commenting on his victory.
George Galloway, congratulations. You're live on BBC News.
Thank you.
Congratulations. What message does your victory send?
I think the biggest message is to Keir Starmer that he's lost the trust, lost the confidence of millions of traditional Labour voters. And that's going to cost Labour plenty in the general election this year.
Is this not a particular set of circumstances here, though? I mean, would Labour not have won this seat had it not been for the fact that they had to drop their candidate?
Well, none of us can know that. If you think it's just a particular set of circumstances, I beg to differ. I think that all over the country, Workers' Party candidates, independent candidates, significant people will now stand up against Labour in those constituencies and will either defeat them or cause their defeat. And that ought to be a matter of concern for Keir Starmer, and I think it is.
I mean, how widespread can this get, though? I mean, you're obviously well known, you've got a history of doing this kind of thing, but does your party have the infrastructure to do more, realistically, in other parts of the country?
Well, we've got now 60 parliamentary candidates. We won't necessarily use them all because we're open to negotiation with others. If an independent has a better shout than us, we'll negotiate that. But we are, this is where the co-op was born in 1844. Nobody thought it could be done. But I've been in co-ops from the favelas in Brazil to the townships of South Africa. It spread throughout the whole world. And I think this victory tonight will spread far.
George Galloway.
And it's a historic win. So let's actually talk a little bit more about this. This is an article from The Guardian. Galloway won about 12,335 votes, 39.7% of the total, in much more sweeping victory than anyone would predict, giving him a 5,697 vote majority. A surprise second place went to David Tully, a local businessman who stood as an independent, saying he would speak up for the town rather than use it as a vehicle for political ambition. You're in the wrong business there, buddy. Labour, which abandoned its candidate, Azhar Ali, over inflammatory comments he made about Israel. Oh, gee. How about that? Being critical of Israel. And that cost you the election. Finished in fourth place with just 7.7%, having held a near 10,000 vote majority in the constituency. So there you go. Ahead of Ali in third was a conservative candidate, Paul Elson, who was barely visible on the campaign trail and is understood to have spent some of the period on holiday. Wow. Hey, listen, boy, conservative voters in that area. Your boy was on vacation while running for a seat. What does that tell you about his work ethic? So there you go. No, Galloway, who is an ex-Labour who sat in Parliament, has now unseated his former party in 3 elections and will return to Parliament representing a 4th constituency in 37 years. So this is, and he goes on to say that this will spark a movement. People were more than ready to speak out. Now, of course, the article does go ahead and mention how he was heckled by people of the Stop Oil movement. Hey, listen, look, I'm all for bringing awareness about the dangers of climate change and, of course, the dangers of fossil fuel. I get it. But seriously, stop oil. You're destroying works of art. You're blocking traffic. Let's say somebody has an emergency or a job interview to go to. You're not doing yourselves any favors by blocking the roads, okay? Because one day you're going to run across somebody who's going to hit that gas pedal and go Mad Max on you, okay? I don't encourage that, but you screw around on the highways and you're going to run into somebody who will step up. But that's a different story altogether. Now, what's the whole purpose of us talking about George Galloway? Why do we need to address this? Because right now, it is March. October 7th is when the conflict first started between Israel and Hamas. And since then, we are witnessing the absolute destruction of Gaza. And many things need to be brought up, especially with what led to this conflict. We cannot forget that the New York Times did an article which, again, talked about how the Israeli intelligence services knew a year in advance that something was going to go down. Now, was there a stand down order given? Was something done in order to make this attack more palatable, or either that make it more acceptable? Was this a wag the dog kind of moment? Because I got to bring him up. Charlie Kirk, not only on his show, but on the PBD podcast, brought the fact, was there a stand down order given? Israel has absolute control over Gaza, what gets in and out. It is a fortress. It's the world's most one-sided fistfight. Concrete walls, watchtowers, barbed wire fences, drones, surveillance cameras, you name it, it's there. And since then, since this war started, we've been seeing people die. We've been seeing the entire area of Gaza get desolated and destroyed. We've seen people lose their lives, lose family members. We saw how, and again, we see all the videos on social media about the doctors. We see the videos of the doctors finding out that they lost their wife or child or their whole family. We see firsthand about the images of the brutality of what the Israeli Defense Forces are now doing to the people of Gaza. We also know for a fact that there are hostages still there. And the people of Israel, especially the family members, have stormed the Israeli parliament, asking what's being done. And the whole world is protesting, asking Israel to stop this. Now, our politicians, not only here in the United States, but worldwide, are nutless wonders because they don't have the courage to speak out and say, stop this genocide, stop this murder, stop this extermination. So people like George Galloway have to step up. And perhaps this is a spark of a movement. Now, the city of Rafah, let's be very clear on this, is at risk of being attacked. Dare I say it, it's going to be happening soon. And I've covered on this show on how good old Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wants to continue the war till 2025, but yet he's also saying that absolute victory is a month away. What does absolute victory look like? Do the people of Gaza have anywhere left to go? Anywhere above Rafah has been destroyed. It's a moonscape. I have no idea how they're ever going to rebuild their lives. How can you rebuild entire cities and towns when everything has been destroyed? People have to speak out. People have to have their voices heard. And the thing is, as the longer this war continues on, the more money that's being spent on it, many Americans and people across the world need to ask, why is all this money going to Israel? Why are we funding a genocide? Why are we turning a blind eye to people dying? It doesn't have to be this way. And George Galloway's victory could be that initial stepping stone of stopping this. Now, AIPAC has a lot of influence here in the United States. And of course, Israel has a lot of influence over a lot of other governments as well. Money in politics is not just an American thing. But citizens need to vote. Citizens need to step up. And citizens need to start building movements and organizations not connected to the neoliberal establishment. The media can't hide it anymore. And in that other video clip that I played, you had a BBC reporter saying, hey, maybe it's not safe to use that word. That word is genocide. But we better start speaking it out. 30,000 plus civilians are dead in Gaza. And it is with a heavy heart that I have to say that that number will continue to rise. But maybe this is a chance, a turning point, where we could say enough.